Spencer Lazara, MMAinterviews.tv, World Series of Fighting 3, alongside the winner, the victorious Josh Burkman. Safe to say that this is a pretty epic, awesome feeling for you right now after a long career.
Yeah, I kept saying downstairs, I was like, am I going to wake up tomorrow and have to fight? Because I've had two of those dreams where I dreamt that I won, and then I woke up and I was like, oh man, this fight's in a week, this fight's in a couple days. So this is probably one of the highs. This is probably the high of my career right now.
First off, I guess the fight, were you surprised that he came right out and basically exchanged right in front of you?
No, I expected him to come out and be aggressive. Jon Fitch had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, and he had something to prove. And I said in my interviews that I would think that's the wrong way to approach a fight with me. Because that's what I want you to do. I want you to come out and be aggressive. But I expected him to do it, and that's why I kind of just waited to feel it out. If a guy's not going to be as aggressive, then I'm going to go with him. So
got a little splint on your finger, but nothing too bad in terms of injuries. Talk about that right hand you landed, and then going for the finish.
I just was kind of I found my flow. After a couple seconds, I honed in on him, and I found my target, and I was able to, get him clean. And I think even as as a mixed martial artist, when that happens, you kind of just have to sit back and be like, all right, I'll have to watch it, and I'll have to check it out, because as he went down, I hit that choke. I figured I was gonna have to stand him back up, and we were gonna keep going. Yeah. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, talk about getting it deep, and just walk us through the submission. Did you feel him go out?
Yeah, so I knew that I hurt him, and I put that choke in, and I think he thought I might go down with it, and I was just trying to pick him back up, and I got it real tight when I was trying to pick it back up, and then I was going around the corner a little bit, and I felt him kind of go for my leg, and I knew when he went for my leg, I could wrap my other leg around it and tighten it up, and I tightened it up, and I knew that I had it right away. I held on to it. In the very end, I squoze hard, and I knew he went out, and Malzagatti didn't stop it, so I let him go, and more standing up, and put my arm out, which was just like an emotional release. I was just like, really? All right.
Are you there at that moment when you stand up, you let him, and you just stand there over him like, I just did this, and look out at the crowd? What's going on through your head?
That's just a feeling of ecstasy. That's just that's a moment that I will that I'll never forget. Especially I'm a 4-1 underdog, 5-1 underdog in this fight. And so I believe in myself. Self-belief is powerful. If there's any lessons from this, I've been an underdog 4 fights in a row, and I believed in myself. I believed that, in my training and in my ability, and I've been able to come and get these victories and be here now. So
clearly a different fighter from the Josh Burkman of old, and we've talked about that pre-fight, of course. Just talk about the changes that you made in your camp and your life.
I'm a completely different person, and I said it before. The first 30 years I always said were for me. I even told my wife that. I was like, listen, the first 30 are for me. So, the next 30 I said were for my family, and I really is my source of inspiration now. I chose this as my profession. I chose this as my passion, and now I just, I've kind of found my own martial art. When I started fighting, I made up my martial art, American Who Hits You, and everybody always be like, what is that? And I was like, that's my martial art. And they were like, why? And I was like, because when I get done fighting, people ask the guy who hit you. But in that, it's a compilation of everything. I've went and trained with Tito Ortiz and Randy Couture and, the best fighters in the world, and the reason that I did that, it was to see what they were doing. And now I've taken that all back home, to Utah, where I'm training at Pit Elevated. I have a great group of people around me, awesome family, good support, and I think it's just a reflection of my life, my performances lately, and just living the right way, and it makes for me being the best martial artist I can be.
I'm sure it was tough going through some of the lulls, making it back, then going out of the UFC, and then really getting things back on track, and just going through this huge win streak that you've been on.
Yeah, I think, but that's life has its highs and it has its lows, and in those you got to just, work through them and battle back. And, for me, getting injured was a big low, because I thought my career was getting taken away from me for a minute. And then but I had to change my lifestyle. I had to change a lot of things to get back to this point. And a lot of that was just living a healthier lifestyle, being more dedicated, more focused, and, making my vision very clear.
And definitely the fans and the odds makers might have a little different things to say for your next one, huh?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll be a favorite one of these days. But, with coming into the World Series of Fighting, my goal was to fight tougher opponents, and right away Ali's like, we got Gerald Harris, and I was like, perfect. He's like, you sure? I'm like, absolutely. And then, Aaron Simpson again, tough guys. But if I want to, get to the top, I should be an underdog all the way till I get there.
Yeah, well, this last question, I guess, talk about the fight with Steve Carl, man. That looks like that one might come. Seems like it's somewhat official, I mean, it seemed like that was the plan. Obviously, a trilogy fight with Jon Fitch looms large, but I guess let's talk about that first.
Yeah, I was very focused on Jon Fitch, so I didn't know. All I know is in the conference call, WSOF has said the winner of this fight will get the first title shot. And, so I know I'm in there, and I'm sure it'll be Steve Carl. He deserves it. He's 2-0, and that was an impressive performance that he had. With that being said, that's what I kind of said to Jon Fitch after the fight. I said, get back up, go beat somebody, and let's have number 3. I mean, this is my second rematch, but I've never had number 3. Those number 3s look good on a poster, and I think me and Jon Fitch will have a great fight in the third one.
Especially with all the footage we have to help hype the fight.
Absolutely. I mean, there's plenty of footage. I've spent 7 months of my life training for that guy, so that'll make almost a full year, So, yeah, plus you guys got a lot of great footage this one.
Yeah, it's going to be killer, man. Be sure to look for our video blog. It's going to be phenomenal. But talk about, Steve Carl told me he wants to come out and be aggressive. He thinks he can come out and bang with you. You think that's a smart idea for him?
I will promise you that he won't come out and bang with me. I mean, he will say he will. Mike Swick said he would. Everybody says they do, but as soon as they do it, they change their mind. And if he does, I would appreciate it.
You feel like you're one of the heaviest hitters at welterweight. Maybe Johnny Hendricks is one who can contend.
Well, I've only my background is wrestling, and only as of late, somebody said something to me, and they're like, Josh, if you want to be great, you got to let your hands go. And then the other day I did an interview, and we were talking about my grandpa and my great uncle, and he was a world champion and a boxer, and his name was Windmill Pierce, and it's just it's in my blood, so I got to let the hands go, and I plan on continuing to do that first and use my wrestling second now.
Awesome, man. Anything else you want to say before we close out?
There is. I just had so much support this fight. The World Series of Fighting had so much support. I had so much support and such, great interviews from the media, and it's really cool to see the mixed martial arts press and media getting behind this show and really, behind me too. It was a very neat experience, and I just want to say, thank you to you guys and my friends and my family, and I have a lot of support, and I felt this fight, and it was very humbling, and I appreciate it, so thank you guys very much.
Congratulations. Josh Burkman, fresh off of his victory here, World Series of Fighting 3. Look for our video blog. It's going to be something else, behind-the-scenes footage of this man's entire fight week.